Hello and welcome. I've been blogging for some 6 years now, and I'm going to give this screencasting a go. Now, I don't think the quality is going to be up there with the likes of Pluralsight, etc., but we'll see how we get on. So what I'm going to start with is AngularJS form validation. And you can see I have a little CRUD application here in front of me. I have a list of clients, and you can see that some of the clients that already have been added do not have a name. Okay, so we need to add validation both client side and server side. But I'm going to show you the client side. So I've already added the validation to this application, so I'm going to show you what it looks like when we're finished. So if I go to add a new client, you can see that I cannot click the add button, it's disabled. Also, I've got some sort of notification. It can be kind of the asterisk, which is the default one that you'd see in a lot of websites. I've made it red. So you can see I said this is actually required. The description, that's not so important. Okay, so if I enter a name and I go, let me see, screencast 2015, you can see now we should have a new record, screencast 2015. So this is where we're going. So how do we get there? So let's jump into Visual Studio and we'll have a look at the HTML, and you can see this is the HTML that's basically giving us that end result. Slight bit of CSS, which I'll show you in a second, but basically here are the important parts. I've given my form a name. Okay, the reason I've given it a name is I want to actually use this name to disable my submit button, my add button in my case, if the form itself, so this is matching the form name, if the form is invalid. Okay, so disabled if it's invalid, enabled if it's valid. I've also said that look, the name field itself is required, and I've also marked the form as no validate. Now this is a HTML5 attribute that effectively says that if this attribute is present, then no validation is performed when we submit. Okay, so if we look at our backing in JavaScript, this is the controller that's been used to manage that form we're looking at. See, there's nothing of any importance related to validation here. This is just where we're storing out some information. This is where we're sending information to the server, and then we're getting back a result, which we're currently assuming to be okay. What is interesting is the styles, and you can see that look, the form no validate, that's nothing Angular specific. We're saying that look, I want an 8 pixel wide solid border on the left hand side. I've also said any inputs that are marked as required and have the ng pristine, or any inputs that are required and are invalid and are Angular invalid and Angular dirty, then I want the 2Ds to be red. If I have an input that's required and it's valid and it's dirty, i.e. someone's changed the value from its pristine from its initial state and it's now dirty, changed, and it's valid, I want to mark it green. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Now there's a lot more. Let me bring in from another screen the page. There's a lot more information and a lot of other classes. You can see this is the Angular documentation. You can see there's many different, well 10 as such, different classes. There's this is Angular 1.3 released in the last 2 minutes, well 2 weeks I think. Angular 1.2, which a lot of people are using. There's 4 I believe in this: valid, invalid, pristine and dirty, which ones we've just seen. So you can use that as an exercise to see how it works in 1.3 and what different scenarios you can use these additional CSS classes for. And obviously read this documentation, is a lot better than my screencast, but what I'm trying to do is show you that look, there's not really a lot involved in actually getting AngularJS to actually do the validation for you. You can see basically disable buttons based on a property that AngularJS injects into the scope itself. And you can see that look, it's just the required, that's the same as HTML5, that's the normal HTML5, same as the form, name, and the no validate is just telling HTML5 do not validate. That's pretty much it. So it's really nice. You don't have to do things like have a property or have a setting to say look, the form is disabled if the scope data.name is not a string, is an empty string, etc. So give it a go, let me know how you get on, and I hope this screencast has been of some benefit. Thanks very much.